Yes, I have to put on my lipstick before we start. Oh man. I got raccoon eyes and it's gonna be great. Deep. Oh my god. Yeah. I am live and I'm not ready. Cause the raccoon eyes got to go. You know, we're right here. Beep. Beep, 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 beep. All right. This is the morning mess. Whoops. Sorry. All right, it's giving y'all time to wake up and get going. Enjoy some mindful breaths if you're waiting. Give thanks. I know you didn't do it yet today. Celebrate. This is the day the Lord has made. I'm definitely gonna rejoice and be glad, man. You wondering why I'm not using a makeup brush? Because this is easier. Raccoon eyes disappear when you have the right product. We're pseudo doing a makeup tutorial on the Be Great Everyday channel. This is the morning message. Hey, Alicia. Good morning to you. Oh, it's the worst when you have a hot flash while putting on makeup. Don't do it. Don't do it. Oh my God. I am in a full throttle hot flash. Okay. I think I'm pretty now. So get into it, okay? All right. I hope it's cool outside because it's getting hot. It's getting hot in here. Thank you for liking the video. I appreciate you for showing up to greet me. Ooh, I like this deck. This is gonna be good. All right, Vicalicious. Okay. Today is Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day, as they say. Oh, what a day it is. What a day it is. It is a time to be alive, okay? Let me tell you. Let me tell you something, okay? I don't know about y'all, but even in the midst of trials and challenge, I still can find a way to be grateful. This is a real masterful skill, as we've been talking about. Finding reasons to be grateful, man. Life is gonna be life in 24/7 to heaven, okay? Be grateful. I guess it's appropriate for me to start with a quick introduction. Welcome, Alami Bashir. I'm an executive coach who happens to be intuitive. Welcome to the Morning Messages. Every weekday, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 Eastern, we do a live intuitive message. Sometimes we put on bright pink lips to do it. We're gonna work with it. Oh my God. And a Goodwill hat, but you know, we making it do what it do today. This brand is giving real hard, okay? I think this is, I don't know whose logo this is, but I got this at the Goodwill and I love it because it matched my shirt. Welcome, welcome, rise and shine. If you care to learn more about me, what I do, and how I be doing it, I welcome you to visit BeGreatEveryday.com. BeGreatEveryday.com. Okay. Let's see. I don't know. Let's see. I think we need to massage this hat a little bit more. So let's see, y'all. Y'all know these are live intuitive messages. They're channeled messages. You know, it's my highest power as I know it is just the God in me and beyond me. I listen to these messages in real time with you all. I've been listening to the messages back just so I can hear it for real, for real. So, you know, take the things as they resonate for you. Don't take anything that doesn't feel like it relates to you, okay? How about that? And I do encourage you to hold space for anything that doesn't resonate immediately, because sometimes the messages have to kind of seep in, okay? Life got to reveal itself a little bit more for us to make sense of why we are experiencing certain things. All right. Oh, I shaved my head. That's why it feels weird. The hat feels weird because I don't have no hair. Okay. Let's get started. So the first thing feels like some PSA kind of messages. By the way, feel free to share this live with anyone you think can resonate. I appreciate that in advance. And yeah, it's given, first of all, it's given like a whole bunch of PSAs around diet. So it's like you need to eat more plants, need to eat more trees, you know, it's like you need to just approach life from a healthier perspective, choosing the healthier options. If you get the chance to choose between beef and turkey, choose the turkey. If you get a chance to choose between turkey and fish, you know, choose the fish. And I don't know enough about the nutritional value of all these things. I'm channeling a message, but it's like choose the higher vibrational meal, okay? If you were to ask a vegan or vegetarian, they would be like, you know, what's the difference? You're killing. So it really is no value difference in it all. But somewhere in there nutritionally, it feels like there's a hierarchy. And so, you know, we know pork is probably not on the same tier as, you know, fish, or maybe it is, depending on who you ask. But choose accordingly. Choose the higher vibrational meals. Choose the healthier options. If you got a chance to choose between light sour cream and regular sour cream, choose light. Okay, it's that type of energy, okay? So, there's a lot of caution around food, okay? It's like food is life. We know this. Like, we don't need a lecture about food, okay? Nobody wants to hear a lecture about food. It's like, we know. But it's like, it's given like, you know, did you know that you can hydrate your body even more than drinking water, but just by eating plants, okay? This is not research and empirical evidence. Do this research on your own, but it's given like, you know, consuming plants gives you more hydration, okay? More hydration. And so, you know, eating a lot more salads, even if you're not drinking all of your water, can be helpful, okay? You know, I've been seeing a lot of content around milk and what kind of milks we should be drinking. So I don't know if you're a milk drinker, but it's given like plant-based milk. So coconut milk, walnut milk, fresh almond milk. It's, you know, it's eat healthy time is what it's given. Okay, and some of you might already be in alignment with this as you have this resolution to do better and so you can feel better. And that's the vibe. It's like when you eat better, you feel better. You don't just look better, you feel better. Okay. It's like you're sending now signals to different parts of your brain and your body that signal health when you eat better. It's not just the actual minerals and vitamins. It's a frequency that comes with higher vibrational food, okay? It's like we feel better about ourselves when we eat better, okay? So it's a lot of energy around minding your menus and minding your diet, okay? Minding your dinners, like being very intentional, okay? Okay. It's a lot of energy around infusing herbs also, okay? So if you like to cook with a lot of salt, then maybe you start supplementing with more herbs. I love cooking with herbs, by the way. That's become my jam being here. You know, get you some cilantro with some parsley or some fresh thyme, some rosemary, some sage, basil. Like you can go ham with a meal with just herbs, you know, garlic and, you know, some onions. I mean, you can get far in life. I heard Cynthia Erivo, for those of you who love Wicked, she was talking about how everybody wants to make food flavorful with garlic and onions, and she hates that. I was like, girl, we could never be together. We can never be, girl. So, but it's a lot of energy around that. Substituting salt, choosing healthier options, choosing plants, putting more plants on your plate. Okay, put plants on your plate. A lot of energy around that. Put plants on your plate. Okay. I'm also seeing some energy around flowers, like really connecting with flowers. So those of you who maybe like plants or just appreciate having a fresh bouquet of flowers every now and again, like buy yourself some. They have a frequency and an energy, so buy yourself some, bring them in, okay? Use them in your food. You know, I have several chef friends who like to put flowers as decor and decorum around the food, and you can eat it, okay? So it's like really getting fancier with your meals, being more intentional, getting more creative, okay? And picking the healthier options. All right. Thank y'all for liking the video. I appreciate you so much. All right, here we go with these cards you got to read for yourself. So get ready, get your intuitive hat on, see what comes through for you. Again, for anybody who may want a private personal reading, you can go to begreateveryday.com, begreateveryday.com, okay, for a private personal intuitive reading or human design reading. I'd be happy to support you in getting more clarity. All right, but let's keep it going. The first card that came out. Oh, I got toothpaste on my arm. Sorry. Right there. Card says reproach. Okay. Reproach. And so this is like an energy of, I'm still trying to feel the theme. Right now, the theme is like, I just felt like a PSA around like healthy eating and like being intentional with your nutrition. But like, as a theme, it feels like it's really around like self-care. And what I want to describe as trimming the fat. Okay. That's funny because we're talking about food. And yesterday I went to a party. Well, I didn't take this food to the party. I cooked food before I went to a party. That's kind of like a thing I do. I like to eat before I go so that I'm not hungry in case it's something I don't like to eat and I'm not mad. So, so I made some chicken. And some chicken thighs to be exact. And, you know, if you know that piece of protein, they have a lot of skin or fat around them. So I was trimming the fat off of the chicken just yesterday. That I then, you know, stir fried and it was delicious. So I was trimming the fat off the food. Okay. And we might, you know, those of us who are carnivores, we do that. You buy a steak, you're going to trim some of that fat off because, you know, they say it's the juiciest and best part, but it's also the most unhealthy part. So we trim that part off. Okay. We get rid of what's unhealthy when we're trimming the fat, right? So this notion of like trimming the fat in your life as a means of self-care, what does that actually look like besides food? Okay. You might want to get a pen and paper just in case, you know, there's a lot that's about to come through, okay? So what does this look like in terms of like our lives where we're creating more refinement in our experience that leads to more self-care? So what does that look like to trim the fat? So for some of you, it might be doing something like taking some level of responsibilities off your plate. It looks like, you know, delegating or deferring or denying, right? It looks like kind of repurposing your responsibilities. So that's what that might look like for some of you, to trim the fat. For others of you, it might not just be like some postponing of activities. It might be complete cancellation or withdrawal from certain activities or certain people or certain places or certain things. It's like a withdrawing of your energy as a means to self-care. Okay. That's what it looks like to trim the fat. For some of you, it might look like, if you're one that's dating and you are dating multiple partners or seeing multiple people, or you got multiple situations going on. Maybe you're married, God forbid, but maybe you are. And I'm not here to judge, that's your business. It just complicates things when we do things out of alignment. So if that's your situation, it's like maybe you want to, trim the fat and cut off the extra side pieces and side situations, okay? Thank you. You like my blue, girl? I'm feeling chipper. Thank you. Yeah, so trimming the fat. Let's keep going. So, aside from obligations and responsibilities, there's other ways in our food, right? There's other ways that we can trim the fat in our life, okay, that leads to self care. One of those things is our focus, okay? What does that mean? So, what we don't recognize is so much of our lived experience is not even happening outside of our body. And quite honestly, our whole entire lived experience is happening inside here in terms of how we process it, right? We are processing all of the things we are experiencing through this, right? But the challenge with that is our mind can be completely inundated and overwhelmed with toxic thoughts, okay? Thoughts that don't actually serve us, thoughts that leave us feeling depleted or defeated, thoughts that make us focus on worst case scenarios, right? And what does that do to our self-care when we start spiraling down these negative cycles of thought? Like it literally starts to compromise. We get headaches, we get anxiety, we get nervousness, we get fear or depression, we might get sadness and angry. There's all kind of shit that gets activated just because we're thinking about something, okay? And so this trimming of the fat, quote unquote, is like this need to become a better moderator. I was asking for somebody to become a moderator in the space. Moderators control what comes in, what goes out, what stays, what goes, okay, what gets highlighted, what doesn't. We know what it looks like to moderate in social media spaces. So with becoming a moderator in your own lived experience, it's like you become a gatekeeper to your thoughts. What comes in, what goes out, what stays, what goes, okay, what you allow yourself to fixate and focus on, okay. You'd be surprised if you really started to take inventory of all the worrisome things that you give yourself permission to give attention to on a daily basis. You would just be fucking mind blown. Because first of all, we have like a billion thoughts every day. Maybe not a billion, but tens of thousands every single day. Every single day we are having upwards of tens of thousands of thoughts every single day. And so to be able to moderate that volume of thinking, we don't even try. We don't even think it's a thing that we can catch ourselves at every moment, around every turn, to stop everything. And we just think about that and get exhausted. So we're like, I'm not doing that. Okay. So what happens is we end up dealing with the aftermath of these thoughts, which is fear and doubt and lack of self-confidence. Things like imposter syndrome and anxiety. Like that's what gets triggered, okay, when we let those thoughts just run rampant. So how do we trim the fat, okay, in order to create more mental and spiritual and physical health for ourselves? How do we self-care? You trim the fat by focusing on what you want to think about, okay? I know that sounds like, huh? It's focusing on what you want to think about, okay? Because this card reproach is here. And this is an energy that says that we are self-critical. We have a tendency to be very judgmental, hypercritical, very defeating in our thought, very pessimistic, as we were talking about that yesterday. Very self-sabotaging in our thoughts. And these are thoughts that contribute to negative self-care, that contribute to negative self-help. Okay, that's not helpful. When you're judging yourself and beating yourself up, it's like even if you're wanting to control your diet and eat better, it's like when you catch yourself defaulting to eat that pizza and then you eat it all gone and you're like, fuck, I never should have ate that. It's not for you to be like, fuck, you're so stupid, you never should have ate that and you know better and da-da-da-da-da and get all punitive in your self-talk. Like this card of reproach is like a need for us to really become better moderators of our thoughts, to qualify our thoughts. It's like to not give ourselves permission to sit in self-loathing, self-doubting, self-critical, and judgmental energy. It's like that is what we trim the fat on. It's like it's boundary setting. It really is at its finest. Okay, it's boundary setting. It's I'm not going to give myself permission to sit in those kinds of thoughts. Those thoughts are not high quality. They're not high vibrational. They don't bring value. They don't help me move forward toward what I'm wanting to do. They're literally not value added. So it's a lot of energy as I see this card of reproach. It's like this trimming of the fat is not just physical. It is mental. It's like what you're not going to allow yourself to be preoccupied with anymore. Okay. It's what you're not going to give yourself permission to just fixate and focus on when it doesn't feel good. Come on. Don't give yourself permission to fixate and focus on things that don't feel good, kids. Isn't that spell a natural disaster? It's like it's a setup for failure. If you could keep thinking about the shit that doesn't feel good, things that you can't control, and if you're gonna keep focus on things that you don't like and things that you feel afraid of, it's like you're gonna keep manifesting that frequency. And so if that's what you don't want to do, then you got to become a better moderator, a better gatekeeper of the quality of your thoughts. You got to trim the fat, as they say. It's an interesting analogy they've given me. You got to trim the fat. That looks like realigning your thoughts with something that feels good. Having a hard line no to anything that doesn't. Okay. Woo. Okay. We talking self-care. Okay. Refining your self-care. How do you need to refine your self-care, i.e. trim the fat? Okay. It is about being mindful of who you spend time with, what activities you do, where you go, who you allow in your energy. And it's also a matter of what you focus on. Where are you putting your attention when things are quiet? It's not just what are you doing to trim the fat in your life. It's like, how are you being? What can you be? How can you be different? Okay, it's a lot of energy around beingness. It's like you need to trim the fat around anything that keeps you from being your authentic self. Anything that works against you sitting in your authentic power. Okay, it's trimming the fat on those things. So whether it's doubt, worry, anxiety, angst, fear, whatever it is, it's no, cut it off. Okay, it needs to go. All right. So, okay, all right. Okay. Okay. So, before I go to the next card, and I know it relates to this, they want me to talk about happiness, okay? But it's not just happiness for happiness' sake. It's like, how do we define happiness, okay? It's an energy of how do we define it. And so they're bringing in this energy of budget, okay? I don't know how many of you manage a budget in your life, or if you just spend with the calculator off, the calculator in your mind, or if you actually write down your expenses and you keep a ledger and do all the tangible things. But it doesn't matter really what your process is. It's more of how you decide and discern, how you decide and discern what is important to you, what makes you happy, okay? As we're talking about trimming the fat, they're bringing in budgeting, okay? Budgeting as a way to trim the fat. And so it's like we usually talk about this in terms of what we want to save, right? What we want to keep for ourselves, right? And that's relevant to this conversation too. We do budget so that we can save and increase our, our savings, or to whatever extent that means something to you, whatever number that includes for you. We do manage our money in ways in which we can have some reserve for ourselves, right? After we've paid all our debts to society. Okay, so it's that, but this is giving like the opposite function. Okay, so budgeting is important and necessary, yes. Okay, trimming the fat of buying things that you only need, yes. Okay, but this feels a little bit different. Okay, our natural instinct when we feel like we are running low on money is to hoard. I'm running low, so I need to keep it all. I need to keep what I have. Okay, and we think happiness is what that's will get us happy. That we will be happier because we are being a good steward of what we have, and we're not just letting things go, and we are holding very closely our pocketbook to our chest. Okay, that we see as something that makes us happy, because when we have more money, we are, quote, happy. And I put a lot of hard quotes around that. Okay, because only broke people say that. Okay, only broke people say, when I have more money, I'm going to be happier. Okay, because wealthy people understand that their joy is in no way associated to this money, and that they have a lot of money all the time and they don't have joy all the time. Okay, so they're very clear about that distinction. That doesn't mean that there's still motivation for money to bring in more joy, but they're very clear about the distinction. But the word happiness is here, okay? And it's coming through as a need to redefine how you prioritize your finances, okay? Like, what you say makes you happy is really not what makes you happy, okay? And I'm giving you this as a channeled message, okay? So if you like to make money and keep all your money to the side, or keep all your money to yourself, and you do not have any philanthropic interests, you are not giving money away, you are not pouring seeds in or sowing seeds in other direction, because that's really what feels like the biggest part of this. Like, yes, budget, yes, save your portion. However, comma, trimming the fat in this case is like, yeah, you've got what you need. You have extra to give, okay? And you may not say, well, I don't have a lot. And you may say, I don't have a lot of extra. I only have an extra $100 a month. Well, guess what? You got an extra $100 a month. So maybe you take $5 of that $100 and just give it to somebody. Maybe it's not necessary for you to hoard all that $100. Like, you're not going to get any more money, because that's cutting off this flow of circulation, and that's just not good self-care. It's not good karmic energy. It's not good circulation in the universe. It's just not. There's a sowing of the seed in order to reap. You have to sow in order to reap. Okay, it's not just let me reap, and I don't have to sow, because they need to sow for themselves. It's like, no, this is a time to be able to give when you have sown a seed. When you bring in increase, that's why the tithing is such a thing, when people tithe. Oh, you finally caught one? Oh, greetings. I love that you're here. It's not irrational to think, I'm running low on funds, I probably should be wise with the funds that I have. That's not an irrational thought, okay? What is irrational is acting as if when you spend money, you're not going to make more money. That is irrational, okay? That's actually how the circulation of money works, is that when you spend it, then you can bring in more. Okay, and I know that's weird, okay, but we see it every day, right? You go and pay your bills every day, you spend it, and then you bring in more, okay? But this is an energy of not just, working that circulatory system of money, of making sure that you're reaping and sowing. This is about how you define your use of money, okay? It's like when you see money as something, an object that you have to hoard and covet, that means that you believe there's no more out there to get. That means that you've got to define your happiness based on this portion that you have. Okay. And if I can't keep all this to myself and I have to give it to you, then I'm going to be unhappy. I get excited when I get to pay my bills, because that tells me I got money to pay them. When I can be excited to have paid a bill, that's because I had money to pay it. So I'm going to be excited about that. And I know it's hard to be excited when you don't have money to pay it, but again, that's the mentality, is you're like, I don't have no money. The world is full of money and ways to make money and earn money legitimately and legally. There's all kinds of ways to bring money into your hemisphere if you are a money magnet. And your mindset is what makes you a money magnet, okay? So it's a lot of energy around one, budgeting, okay? And two, using your increase to sow a seed, okay? And hell, let me put my Cash App up with this message. We sowing seeds around here? But really, okay? And it doesn't have to be me. It might be the guy on the street. It might be your neighbor next door. It might be some charity or some people that you know have been affected by, tragedy and change recently. That is for you to determine, but it's to sow a seed. If you don't have something or somebody that you tithe to, this might be a great month to start. Even if all you got is $5 or $10, or maybe you do have an extra $200 because you're that blessed in your life. It's like, who can you bless with this fund? Yeah, who can you sow a seed in? Who can you help build toward their dream or rebuild their home or invest in their kids? It's like, where can you reinvest this energy, not this money, this currency, this frequency? Where can you reinvest it into the universe to sow a seed? It's like we don't pay attention to how good service feels. Okay. Doesn't it feel good to help somebody that needs help? Like they need it, they can't do it for themselves, and then you sow a seed that blesses them. That feels good. There's like dopamine in that. It activates you. It's not just throw it at somebody, and that's what I'm not judging nobody, but I just see people just kind of throwing money in a direction just to say they did something, but they're not doing the due diligence to make sure it got in the hands of people that can use it, that can amplify it, that can manage it, that can be responsible for it, or with it. They just like have it, and so I can tell everybody I did something. Like, it's a lot of do it for the gram energy when it comes to philanthropy, and I'll be struggling with that. So. It is about being a service, okay, being, as they say, an humble servant. It is about identifying somebody in your community that you know needs help, okay? And maybe it may feel silly to you, like, hey, all I got is $5, but I would really like to give you this for X, Y, and Z. Maybe you put it in a gift card. Maybe you make it something cute. You buy them a $5 gift card to Starbucks, and you use that to sow a seed because you know they like coffee. It's like being intentional. I'm really receiving this. I really thank God for this message. It's making me think about people here in the community that I'm in now that need help or need support with something. And it might be something small, like the brother is looking for people to come paint the playground over here. And it keeps raining every time I try to set out to go over there. It's the third time. But it's like, I want to go help him because he's helping the kids. I'm not asking him to pay me for my time or to pay me for the support. It's like, no, I want to go sow this seed. I want to be able to help him, help somebody else. And that's the frequency in this. It's like redefining this notion of happiness. Is happiness really you just sitting back and getting rich? That might be it. I know plenty of people that do it. And I can tell you they become my clients because it doesn't work. It's not fulfilling. It's not sustainable. It's good for a little bit. But then there's a couple things that start kicking in. You want people around you to enjoy it with. You want to be able to impact change in different ways in your community, large and small. It's like there's other activations that become more important. That sometimes we can't even get to that because we're like, I got to make the money first and then I'll worry about all the other problems I'm going to have. Got to redefine happiness. Yes, if it makes you happy to continue to add towards your savings because you don't feel like it's enough, by all means do that. But even as you are adding that, extra $300 towards your savings, take that $50 and give it to somebody in need. Okay, repurpose those monies so that it becomes seed to grow something. Invest in somebody's business. Help them build their brand. Help somebody, improve their wardrobe. Simple things like that. You think we see people every day like, they got the money to do it. Like you see them in the same shit all the time. Maybe they don't. Okay. Maybe they don't have the money to do it. Just simple things we can do to make a difference. Okay. So it's a lot of energy around trimming the fat in how we manage our finances. And trimming the fat is not just about stop doing things. It's about making sure you've got your own provision, sure, but also taking what you have in surplus to sow a seed. and being intentional about where that seed is being sown. Know where your dollar or where your attention and where your energy is going. What is the cause that you're helping to magnify? Okay, be clear about that. Okay. Okay, I thought that was you, Ryan. Hey. Hi, Carrie. Happy Wednesday. All right. I love this. This is good. This is good. Please like the video, folks. I appreciate y'all joining the live. It helps me even more when you like the video. If you haven't already subscribed so then you'll get the notifications. Okay. What's something else I was gonna say? So y'all know I'm working with the Voices of the Souls Oracle deck. And y'all know the black cards, y'all gotta give yourself your own message. So it says message of freedom. What's the first thing that comes in your mind when you hear a message of freedom? What's the first thing? I love that this word freedom is here. I love seeing this word freedom. I love it. I get invigorated by just looking at the word freedom. I just love it so much. Well, what comes to your mind? Put it in the chat. What comes to your mind when you see the card message of freedom? First thought you get, message of freedom. Put it in the chat if you can. Okay. So the first thing that comes to me is what I want to coin as self-empowerment. Okay, self-empowerment. Meaning that can nobody help you get free but you. Okay. Whatever freedom means to you. Whatever that even means. I know for me, it means being in control of my choices, and what I do, where I put my time, energy, and attention. Freedom for me is feeling untethered from responsibilities I don't want. Freedom for me is having the autonomy to go where I want, to be where I want, and with who I want. Yeah, that's what freedom means to me. That's what that message means to me. And even more pointed, I'm really drawn to the hands in the card. So it's like, when I say self-empowerment, it's like, can nobody help create those pathways or those outcomes for you but you? It's like, unless you are literally being held captive somewhere, which, praise God, we don't have to worry about that. Those of us who are not incarcerated, we, for all intents and purposes, are free. Okay. However, again, when we're talking about trimming the fat and refining the thoughts, becoming a gatekeeper and a moderator of your thoughts, it's like we don't be free in there. We be in real bondage in here. Remember what I said? It don't even be the outside world. It's not about trimming the fat about the people. It's about trimming the fats around your focus, your attention, what you are fixating on, what you are worried about, and the fears that you're focused on. It's like you got to trim the fat from all of that shit in order to get free. You've got to become a gatekeeper to the quality of your thoughts in order to get free. It's like you can't even get activated to create physical change and logistic things that you need to change when your mind is under control. Okay, it's like when your mind is in bondage, you can't get free externally. You just can't. And that's why literally we wrote a workshop called Mind Your Freedom, because it starts there first. You can't get free unless you get free in your mind. You have to get free of your thoughts. You got to start rethinking some shit and think about things differently. You got to be willing to think about things differently and to see things in a new light. Like, it all starts here first. Okay. So as we're talking about self-care, okay, and this need to trim the fat, we talked about budgeting, we talked about being discerning of the people, places, and experiences that you're in. We've talked about charity, okay, using charity and service as a means to activate and increase self-care or self-help. It's like we naturally feel better when we do stuff for people, okay? Naturally. We naturally feel better when we do things for ourselves. When we start prioritizing our own needs and what feels good to us, that shit feels fucking good, okay? So it's a lot of energy around getting started. Okay, it's like if you know you're one that needs to start minding your freedom a little bit better, it's not just minding your business, it's minding your freedom. Okay, we say I'm mind my business and drink my water. Like no, okay. While you over there, make sure you're minding your freedom. Okay, make sure you are rethinking how you see the world. Make sure you are trimming the fat off of thoughts that you know are toxic and self-sabotaging, that are working literally against you, that don't allow you to move forward fast toward those liberating experiences that you say you want. It's like you gotta rethink stuff, okay? This message of freedom is like freedom by your own, at your own hands, okay? Under your own control. You control how you get free, okay? Whew. You control it. I keep hearing and seeing things. I just read something the other day. Somebody was talking about the white man this and the white man that. I'm like, are you still talking like that? Like, no wonder why there's certain politicians that's like, you know, need to pick yourself up by your bootstraps, because there's a little bit that does need to happen. Like, you still saying they holding you back and you got as much opportunity to create wealth in here as anybody else over here? Hey, okay. That's not okay. Don't get on me. I understand social, historical, political challenges. I understand the bureaucracies. I understand all the things. And yet and still I see all kinds of opportunity for people to create wealth and individual freedom for themselves that they are just simply not choosing. So, how does this resonate for you? Okay. As we're tying in this theme of freedom and self-care, like what does that look like for you at your own hands? How can you create more freedom in your life experience? Do you need to cut off responsibilities? Do you need to better manage your pocketbook? Do you need to partner with some different friends? Like, what is it? Okay. You need to redefine how you define happiness. Is happiness just getting the bag, or is happiness like building community? I had to sort through that in my own mind. It's like, no, I want to do both. I want to build the bag with beautiful community around me. So I had to start shifting some shit that I was doing and how I was moving. I want to have both. So I need to be open and I need to foster both. Okay. So what did y'all say? Okay. Message of freedom. Holding on to what was, even if it was worthwhile, doesn't mean, okay. Holding on to what was, even if it was worthwhile, doesn't allow you to be free to accept what's to come. The hands look like they're conjuring hands. Yeah, they do. I thought so too. It's like, you know, how can I get free? Okay, what can I do to break free of these barriers, these boundaries, these thoughts, these limitations? Like, what do I need to do for me that's going to create more personal freedom in my day-to-day experience? Okay. So I feel like y'all need to probably run this message back, because there's a lot of little messages within the bigger message of identifying how you need to look at your own self-care. Okay. You know, these are intended to be kind of messages that you can use to set an intention for the day. So what's your intention? Like, how can you activate more things in your life to get free? You know, and I say activate, that means like add, subtract, remove, delete, you know, repurpose. Is what can you do that's within your own realm of control, your own locus of control? What can you do to bring more freedom into your experience? Okay. Whew. Okay. 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 All right. I love this deck. Anytime I'm drawn to pull out the African Goddess Rising deck, I know it's some real shit about to pop out. I mean, for real, I feel nothing but warrior energy in this deck, and I don't even know who all these archetypes are. Okay. Okay. So let's see what else is coming through. Like the video, y'all, if you haven't already. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, and thank you. Are we getting used to this YouTube vibe? Are we getting used to this? Okay. I'm starting to settle in a little bit more. I keep setting the alarms, and then I'm like frivolously doing absolutely nothing after 9 o'clock. And I'm like, oh shit, it's 9:05. Let me get on there. I'm working on it, y'all. I'm on Tico time out here. Tico is what you call the neighborhood folks, the Ticos and Ticas. You know, Tico time, as we might say, black people time. Whew. Okay, boom. All right. Oh, wow. Okay. And I feel like these go in tandem, but I'm going to talk about them separately still. So we're talking about self-care. What do we need to do to trim the fat? How do we improve our self-care? This card grounding is here. Okay. Now, I feel like this is a slightly different slant on a common perspective we talk about. We think of grounding as, you know, sitting on the floor or taking your shoes off, walk outside, or maybe you do some breath work. But this feels different. This feels more like confidence. It feels like, as we say, standing 10 toes down. Like it's giving that vibe. Okay. So as we're talking about self-care, and this notion of grounding, of course, that makes a logical, linear association to, you know, if you want to take good care of yourself, you want to have some good grounding practices, okay? But to take that another step further, okay, as we're talking about refining something, how do we refine our lives, okay? It's like, how do we refine our thoughts? How do we redefine our relationship or refine different aspects of our life that help us to better self-care? Okay, so grounding, as in like 10 toes down, standing your ground, I guess is a better way to phrase this. This feels like a real courageous act of self-care, okay, and self-love. As we talk about refinement, again, what goes in, what goes out, what's acceptable, what's not. This energy of grounding, standing 10 toes down in confidence, okay, this feels like not like bully energy, like, hey, you're not gonna bully me. It's not like that. It feels like being self-affirmed, okay? That's how I want to say it. It's like saying, it's being confident. It's like the opposite of it would be like not cowering down to things, okay, as a lifestyle habit. It's not like don't be no punk. It's not that frequency. Not cowering down means that you step into your power when you know the moment is calling for you, okay? It's like you rise to the occasion when you know the moment is calling for you. It's like if you have to defend something that you truly believe in, some principle that guides your life, it's like standing 10 toes down on that, okay? Remember, we're talking about this as a mode or means to self-care, okay? Self-empowerment. Standing 10 toes down, standing in your convictions, standing on your principles, standing up for your values, okay? Like these are self-care strategies. This is actually, they're mental hygiene strategies to be more specific. Anytime you stay true to you, that is an effort in support of your mental health. That is you staying in alignment with you as opposed to going against your better judgment or your honest opinion, okay? This standing 10 toes down is like, it is confidence. That's what confidence looks like. It's like you're not gonna run in fear, you're gonna face the music, you're gonna stand in the moment, you're gonna embrace the opportunity. It's like there's power in grounding, okay? There's power in being in your shoes, as they say. I wouldn't want to be in your shoes. Why? I'm standing right here, 10 toes down, okay? Affirmed, all right? So this is feeling like, I told you earlier, it's giving like a little popcorn style to these messages. I feel like this message in particular is a real push toward being more confident, okay? Holding your posture, holding your position, okay? When we talk about refinement, it's like stop giving yourself permission to flee or run away from confrontation, okay? Refinement starts to look like I'm not going to do what I would always do that doesn't work for me. I'm going to do something different that does, okay? So grounding as a means to self-care, big energy around that, okay? Grounding as a means to self-empowerment. It's a lot of energy around this. It's like you gotta stick up for yourself. It is given like that, stand firm, be bold, like stand with a firm chest, say it with your chest kind of energy, okay? That's the frequency. And again, we're talking self-care, okay? Ooh, it's a lot of energy around that. Some of you are wondering, how do I build more confidence or build up the courage to do X, Y, or Z? You stand 10 toes down, literally. I mean, literally. If you want to practice an exercise, this is a mindful movement exercise that I learned from a colleague of mine not too long ago. If you're just walking, like if I were to walk from here to there, walk, and as you walk, I want you to start with your heel first, let that heel land, and then each one of your toes one at a time. So if this is the ground, this is your foot, heel first, pinky toe, second toe, third toe, next toe, big toe lands, okay? And walk from one end to another mindfully. Heel first, then pinky toe, then next toe, next toe, next toe, full foot, step with the next foot. Heel first, pinky toe, on down. Practice that mindful walking. Okay, if you want a grounding exercise, that's one for your ass. And your toes might even start hurting over time because your toes are not used to being activated. The first time it might feel a little bit sore. You're like, what the fuck is that? And then you're gonna remember you did that exercise. But it truly is a grounding experience, literally allowing you to stand 10 toes down, to become mindfully aware of your feet hitting the ground and the power that is in on top of it, standing there firmly and boldly. Like, have a mindful moment inside your own power, just doing that exercise. I invite you to enjoy that. Okay, literally 10 toes down. Okay, all right. It wouldn't be my ideal card to end on, but this is the one. So let's see how the message comes through. Okay. So card says self-sabotage. Okay, remember we were talking about refinements, picking and choosing what we focus our attention on, what we give our energy to. Self-sabotage is here. Okay. So what does this mean in terms of self-care? We wouldn't normally associate self-sabotage with anything that sounds like self-care, but it's coming through as a strategy, okay? As we talk about refinement, okay, and being a gatekeeper of your thoughts, being mindfully aware of where you put your attention and energy in your experience. This card of self-sabotage is not a call to action to, hey, go out there and shoot yourself in the foot and fuck up everything that you're trying to create. It's not that. It's just the opposite, okay? As a means of self-care, you gotta know your own best tricks. Don't you know your own bullshit already? You know what happens when you set a goal or intention to do something. You know what it takes to throw you off course. You know how you do. Don't you? Or is that just me? I think some of you are actually mindfully aware of how you sabotage your own success. Okay? By things that you think or limiting beliefs that you still hold true or current. Okay? You know how you sabotage your success by allowing certain things that then serve as a gateway for other things to come through that same door. And you're like, oh, it's not going to be a big deal. And you know there's a barrage coming behind that. You know that's the way you self-sabotage. Okay? You know, if you go out to the store and you actually buy the bullshit that you know you shouldn't be eating, if it's in the house, you're going to eat it. This is how you sabotage. So it's like you've got to know your best tricks. What are your best tricks? What is the most subtle, subconscious, or unconscious ways that you work against yourself? You've got to be aware of that and then refine it. And refinement looks like, yeah, if you can completely eliminate or eradicate any behavior that's not working for you, by all means, you should stop effective immediately. But not all things work that way. Some things we got to gradually outgrow or gradually disconnect from. There's a gradualness to it, okay? There's a process to it all. And that's okay. But you can't even start the process if you're not even aware of what you do to reactivate yourself. It's like the people who always fall off the wagon and it's like, oh, I fell off the wagon again. I guess I'll try again next year, without ever thinking about how do you get yourself back on the wagon once you fell off. It's not about how do I stay on the wagon without ever falling off. It's how do I pick myself up to reorient and re-engage. Okay, so it's not how do I stop self-sabotaging for a lifetime. We all will face ourselves in this way. We all have certain fears. Even in the midst of our grandest desires, we may have certain fears that keep us from wanting to fully commit to that grand desire. That's what we call self-sabotage. We're working against ourselves to keep ourselves from getting something that we actually want. So it's like you got to unpack your own process. Okay. You got to unpack your own process, and you got to really be committed to it, because it's like you can't take one moment of journaling like today. I mean, you might take today. Let me start unpacking. Well, what are some of the ways in which I do work against myself? And I know I be doing it. Like, let me start. And then you might write one or two things, and then you just stop there, and you're like, okay, I wrote about it. I processed it because I wrote about it that one day. You're like, well, no, you just acknowledged it. You didn't actually process shit. You didn't ask yourself why you do those things or where that behavior comes from or what does it feel like when you feel those drives. You haven't stopped to identify what can you do in place of those behaviors that can be replacements to bring value to your experience as opposed to taking you out of the game. It's like you haven't processed that shit. Okay? You haven't developed new strategies. Okay? You're still repeating the same old cycle. So as a means to self-care, those of you who are really committed on your personal growth journey, it's not enough just to be like, okay, I got problems and I'm trying to do better. It's like you got to really unpack the problems. How did the problems come to be? What were some of the drives and motivations? What were some of the conditions and circumstances? Who were the people and players involved? You know, it's like you got to unpack some shit for real if you're really trying to master yourself. And so this might be a good place to start today in identifying some of the casual ways in which you self-sabotage, but don't let it be a one and done. It's got to be a lifetime conversation, because that fear will trick us. Before we even know it, we then slipped off into a trick bag of working against ourselves, and we back in an old cycle that we know doesn't serve us. It's like it's real clever, it's real quick, it's real subtle. But when we are aware, we can catch ourselves in the act. Oh, I'm doing it again. Or I know anytime I hang out with so-and-so, I start doing such and such. And I know I probably don't need to be hanging out with so-and-so because that's just not the type of vibration I'm trying to be on. If that's not what you're trying to do, and you know that's a trigger for you, it's like you got to have a game plan for every time you think you want to call that particular person. Instead of calling that person, I'm call this person. That's strategy. Or instead of relying on that person to go and whine and complain and vent to or whatever it is I'm just going to take it to my journal. That's strategy. That's how you start disrupting patterns and replace the habits with new, healthier habits, value-added habits, okay? All right. Okay. All right. Y'all resonate with any of this? Make sure you like the video if so. I received these messages. Yep, I received these messages. Praise God. All right. So, you know, anytime we start talking about self-care and self-help, it's not meant to be a perfect process. Take what you can from these messages, even if you take one strategy from this whole hour conversation and you just start working with that strategy. I said this yesterday. Every time I do a live, it's a lot of gems and a lot of nuggets and a lot of things that you can sit and chew on for a little while. It's like, don't try to digest it all and do it all the same day. It's like, just take one thing. Just start on mastery of one thing. That one thing today might be starting to become more mindfully aware of the quality of your thoughts. You might start to journal more frequently just so that you can identify how positive or optimistic your thoughts were that day. Or you might now start to take up a habit of budgeting your finances monthly and now setting aside a little bit of a percentage to somebody, some charitable organization or immediate family or whoever you choose. Okay. But it's like, find one nugget from the conversations. As you listen to these lives, find one thing. Okay. And I'm telling you that as the host of these experiences, it really is important to me, not just that you enjoy these conversations, but that you are able to find something tangible that you can implement into your life and integrate into your experience. Like, that is so terribly important to me. And not just to me, that's so terribly important to your process and your maturity, your own spiritual, physical, mental evolution depends on it. It's like watching all these workout videos, but you never actually get up to do a workout. it's never going to work. So make sure that as you all are listening, and I appreciate y'all that listen. I so love it when y'all listen. I love it when you comment. I love when you share all the things. I really appreciate it. And I'm sure the people that you share it with appreciate it too. So keep doing that. I appreciate you. All right. Last thing I'll say is, of course, these are collective messages. Take them as they resonate for you. If you want to connect on a more personal basis, you can go to begreateveryday.com and book an appointment, whether it's a coaching consultation, because if I'm not clear about that, I work with people through these kinds of challenges. I support people in mastering themselves and overcoming things like doubt and fear and anxiety so that you can move forward more confidently in the direction of your ambitions. So if that's something that resonates, I hope that you reach out. Again, we do human design readings as well as intuitive readings. So, pick your pleasure. It's a season for really getting to better understand yourself. And even better than that, it's a season for really learning how to self-regulate, learning how to manage your moods, manage your emotions, and find a baseline in the midst of so much change that's going on in and around us. So if any of that resonates, again, go to begreateveryday.com, holla at your girl. Okay. If you don't already follow me on Instagram and Facebook and every other platform on planet Earth that I'm on, I welcome you to do so. But above all, keep taking care of yourselves, y'all. I'm making it my charge to do my very best to provide you with as much information, resources, and support. If there's anything that you don't see available that you would like to experience within this platform, let me know. Okay, please, please, please let me know. But otherwise, I'm gonna see y'all tomorrow, 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 Eastern, here for the morning messages. My name is Alami Bashir. Love y'all so much. Keep tuned in to Be Great Every Day, the channel. We got some dope shit coming down the pipeline. I cannot wait to share it with y'all. Love y'all so much. Be good to yourselves. And as I always say, life doesn't have to be perfect. I was gonna say, fuck that. Life doesn't have to be perfect in order for you to have a great day. It just doesn't. You just have to make the conscious choice. So choose how you're gonna respond and choose to be great every day, no matter what. Peace.